Joe presents Liquid Football, sponsored by Paddy Power.
Hello, welcome to Liquid Football on Joe together with Paddy Power. It's the show that takes you inside the dressing room and puts you in the boots of the players. Joining me this week, Jon Walters and Steve Sidwell. What have you got planned after the show?
I'm actually staying in town. I'm going to the Nordic Robins Arsene Wenger do, which obviously
everyone in football's going to, isn't it? Yeah.
John?
No, I'm not going I didn't get the invite for that, unfortunately. I think you've got to be a top player for that, Steve. I'm just down here somewhere.
Yeah, next
With
year.
Rockets going.
Yeah. I've got the grey memo, though. We've got the grey memo.
I'm not going to stay in this, though. Yeah. Have you got a suit?
No. Don't want to go. Don't want to go anywhere.
It's been a really eventful weekend. There have been completely unpredictable results.
Yeah.
Apart from Liverpool.
Well, except even in the way that it happened, that they're 8 points clear of Manchester City at the top of the Premier League. Obviously, City being beaten 2-0 at home by Wolves is the shock in that. You maybe would have had Liverpool to beat Leicester, maybe not in the way that they did with a 95th minute penalty. But how much notice do you think that the players are going to be taking of the other results, especially when you don't play at the same time?
Well, they always do.
Always.
I've always done it as well. And the thing is, as well, when it's at the top of the table and it's title games.
And any points that are dropped can be
it's massive. Yeah, but you say that, last year, did Liverpool have a 10-point gap on City last year?
Well, with a game in hand, so it was 7.
But I just find when teams win the league, you look at Leicester and the team that's done it recently, City, when they start scoring last-minute goals, you just know the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's sort of kind of saying that already, isn't it?
Early days, but the way Liverpool have 2019, every game, wasn't it, towards the end of the season? Did they win every game?
The home record.
They were on a 17-match winning run.
Yeah. So you can't see them dropping it.
It's huge pressure.
I know, obviously, that tackle with Salah, but and he limped off with it, but I just can't see them.
They said it's not. They said it's a twisted ankle, but they're sort of hopeful it's going to be
But I know
okay.
it's all for TV rights, and you want to see the best teams playing on TV. But I'm not a fan of one playing one day and the other one play.
Sometimes that's cut down to European competitions as well.
Yeah.
If they've played on different days in midweek, if you're Tuesday, you play Saturday. If you're Wednesday, you play Sunday. Not always, but that's
you want the two top going at it. Internationals, you always go to try and do the same time. And you talk about checking results. We used to check them at half-time sometimes in big games when we know that result really mattered. At half-time, we'll go in and see how they're getting on. And
really?
we know during the game how they're getting on.
Would that be the players, or would that come from the manager? Or
that'll be a bit of probably players asking. You'll know the result. Yeah, you'd ask just like the stat guy. You go to him and say, what's the score in the other game? Because you knew those couple of points were different between getting qualification or going into the playoffs or not even making that. So there's a few times that's happened.
See, what's quite interesting is that managers, and apparently Pep Guardiola is this way, according to people who've spoken to him. Emma Hayes, the Chelsea women's manager, was saying something similar, is that if you know what it takes to win a championship, you're actually not that aware, or you kind of train yourself not to look at the other team's results. But for players, it's different. But for managers, often it's about making sure that you get not even the result, the performance that you want from the game, isn't it?
Well, if you know you're winning...
Or do you think managers are just kidding us on?
They might be a little bit. Not the way Liverpool are going now. I think...
Well, you were saying earlier, look at them last year, they was winning week in, week out last year, and
I don't think you can think 90 points or 85 points are going to win in your league. No. If you're dropping points, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I can see what she's saying. I can see what she's saying in terms of if we're doing our job and we're winning week in, week out, we don't really have to look elsewhere. Yeah. But
that happens.
It's human nature.
Yeah, that happens if you lower down. I think if you get to 40 points.
Yeah.
So if you get 10 wins, so many draws, or 11 wins, 12 wins, so many draws, then you're safe. So I think.
Dangerous, really, isn't it? You don't seem to have seen get to a point when they just take the foot off the brake. But
because it can work against you. Like if you keep looking at other teams' results, or you're looking at at the table, even you look at maybe West Ham against Brighton, against Crystal Palace, and you're sort of looking at that, and you think people are talking them up as maybe a top 6 team. They know if they win that, they can go into the top 4 because Leicester lost, and maybe sometimes that can take the edge off the performance.
You do take your eye off it. You do. I mean, you can be a victim of your own success. Brighton last season, I think they got to 28 points really quickly, and they then just sort of scuttled over the line towards the end. So
a team that does it every year. I'm trying to think who it is.
Yeah, it does.
It used to be Stoke. It
No,
was
yeah,
Tony
no, it
Pulis
wasn't
teams.
Stoke. Yeah,
Tony Pulis teams
Tony Pulis, yeah.
always used to get to 40 points, and then after that, barely won a point.
The best way to look at it, and most clubs that I've been at that have sort of been not fighting relegation, but Premier League survival was key. Was if your points as you go along the season are more than what you've played. Obviously, come the end of the season, played 38 points. If you've got more than that, you'll be staying up. So during the season, if you've played 8 games, and you've got 12 points, you're on.
Good maths,
you're on
Steve.
course.
Good maths.
Cheers, John. He's still going tonight, isn't he? But when I was at Chelsea, I remember we lost to United really early on at Old Trafford, and we got in, and the players were like, "We can't do this. Can't happen, lads. We've got we can't be dropping points this early on in the season, especially against sort of rivals, because then it was basically only Man U, Chelsea that was really going for the league. So it just goes to show how vital it is at any stage of the season. One
of the talking points from Liverpool's point of view was the tackle by Hamza Choudhury on Mo Salah. Salah went off. It looks like, as we were saying earlier, it looks as though it's not a bad injury or anything. Is there much in Jurgen Klopp saying anything about that? Is it one of those tackles that maybe if you've played and you've coached, you see it differently, or what did you think about it?
Well, when it first happened, I didn't think there was too much in it, but then the way the interview went, that brought my attention to it a little bit. I'm not too sure, I think he's quite happy that Salah might be out of the internationals and he's back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, from that point of view, definitely.
But he looked agitated, didn't he? The way,
but there was nothing cynical in it. It was more of definitely a tactical foul. They was on the break, take him down. When you freeze frame it and you slow it down, most things look 100 times worse. But it happens all the time in games. I think it was just where I think it was his bottom of his knee that caught Salah's ankle, wasn't it? So it's just.
I just wonder, because there are definitely instances where
it goes on in games.
If you're sitting in the crowd or you're watching the game on telly, there'll be some tackles that you watch and wince at, but actually players will be more accepting of them. Whereas you see, and then you see other ones that look harmless. You go, no, he's gone in to do him there, and you can see what's gone on.
As a player, you know the difference between a tackle, because lads will tackle and follow through with the other foot, and it ends up being a 2 foot. But they've won the ball. Didn't start at 2 foot to get away with it. Some lads do that. Always follow through on a tackle.
Yeah.
But there's other ones where it's just a tactical foul. I've said this one before. We played City away and it was 0-0. It was my first game back after an op on my knee, and I played the whole game, but we were just defending. And I remember De Bruyne broke in the 89th minute, and he broke the midfield lines. He was straight onto the back four, and it was like 8 against 4, and I was about 5 yards behind him. I've slid nowhere near the ball. Ball's another 10 yards in front. I just clipped his heel. One of those where you clip the heel and fall over. And they were all fuming, but it was a yellow card and saved us. Yeah. Could have saved the goal in the end. And they're the ones as a player you appreciate. Other lads doing maybe.
Yeah, because the thing is with Choudhury, and I know you say you're not reading anything into the challenge on Mo Salah, but Steve Bruce has already criticised him for the tackle on Matt Ritchie that left him. That he was injured. He was out for a couple of months. Matt Ritchie off that. Is there a danger that players do get a reputation, even if it's not deserved, just purely out of people talking about them, for being dirty? That referees will look at them differently, other players will look at them differently.
1,000,000%
natural, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you look at players as Joey Barton, Lee Cattermole. They're the type of players that's their bread and butter. They go in, they win the ball back for their team, and they give it to the good players that will go on. So if they done a tackle exactly the same as a Mo Salah winning for the same tackle, straight away the ref would penalise them.
You have the piano players and the piano carriers, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I was a piano. Just a piano.
No, but you will get a reputation. But if say it was down the other end, and say Liverpool break very well from their own 18-yard box, don't they? And that's when the most dangerous, people say. So if you're just behind them, and it happened was it Busquets tried to pull someone back the other day in a match. If someone's breaking on you like that, 4 players, and then they go and score a goal, but you had the chance to pull them back or make one of the foul, the manager will go mad at you in the change room. Like, just take a yellow card for the team.
Yeah.
Just take one out. Well,
City do it, don't they? The top managers, they Mourinho don't. When he comes into Chelsea, the top managers tell them to do it. tactical fouls.
Well, that was it. City had that sort of reputation. There was that period where they went through all the stats for it's a really hard thing to try and prove statistically where you do that. But in terms of breaking down what other teams do, it makes sense. You're doing it, and if you do it out with the rules of the game, you get a yellow card, and then but you take the penalty for it.
I'll tell you what is hard to do though, to purposely go out and try and get booked.
We tried that.
Are you talking about Christmas?
No, not around that period. Like if you've got like 4 bookings, if you get 5, you're going to get suspended for a game. There's like a game coming up that you think that the manager will say, look, if we can get you suspended for that game, get you back for the next game. So you're thinking, right, try and go out here and make a foul.
Yeah,
and that happens.
How you judge it?
That is difficult. When you go out purposely to try and, because you're thinking this ball's not coming nowhere near me. I've got to try and make a foul, but I've got to start chasing it now.
You were trying to do it in order to miss a game that you thought it would be all right to miss, rather than miss the important one that was up next.
Yeah, say for instance, your next game, no disrespect, would have been against whoever, a Southampton, and then the manager says that we need you for the following week for a so-called bigger team. That it does happen, and it's hard. It's hard to do.
It then?
You've got to abuse the ref, or when the ball comes after a free kick, just volley the ball about 50 yards away. You're going to get a booking.
So you could it's okay to kick the ball away, get a ball, but trying to judge the tackle.
It is hard.
So it's just on the wrong side of not getting a card, and on the right side of not getting a red card.
Because you don't want to endanger your opponent doing it as well, like little kick in the heels or things like that.
The one I did with De Bruyne, I was praying to God I didn't injure him when I did it, but it was just like, when someone walks behind you and flicks the back of your heel, that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But imagine if he went down. He's holding his knee.
I remember getting done 2.5 weeks' wages at Fulham. I got straight red card against QPR, 3-game back. We appealed it actually. The appeal was upheld. I got a suspended fine. So if it happened again, then I would get the fine, the club fine. First game back, Arsenal, 12 minutes in, straight red. So then I get 4 games for that. So I missed 7 games on the bounce, and they fined me.
Did you have a holiday booked?
No, I didn't even have a holiday, but this was towards the end of the season as well. So I missed the last 7 games of the season. Got 2.5 weeks fine. They said, how do you want to pay it? And I like one lump sum or scattered. So I said, right, we'll scatter it. And I was like, I remember having a meeting saying, right, I'm never going to tackle this club again. I said, it was not unintentional. It was, and they said, I remember I've still got the letter, and they was like, no, all right, okay, that's fine. You do what you got to do. So the next game, what do you think I've done? I went in for a crunching tackle. I didn't get red card.
Just sitting there. My God.
Yeah, I missed 7 games of the last at the end of the season.
You were home for a bit of your money back, weren't you?
Yeah, no, it was weren't the highlight of my career, that's for sure.
But those 2 results, and we haven't even talked about the Salah penalty incident, but I think that's been covered in depth. The Mane penalty incident. The Adama Traore goals for Wolves and Liverpool's result means that there's an 8-point gap between these 2 people. But Adama Traore can be brilliant. We saw that. We saw how good he can be, but he isn't always brilliant. How frustrating is that as a teammate of his?
Do you know what? It's just different attributes of different players. You when you see someone that quick, you say, "Oh, if I had his pace, I'll be playing for Barcelona." Do you know what I mean? He's obviously he was Barcelona, but he's so quick. But if he was so consistent, he would have still been at Barcelona, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Or he would be. I'm not saying Wolves on a top team, but he would have been at a top team, because that's a attribute that quick. Not many people have.
Yeah.
And but you take it if they win you a game. I think we played a few at Stoke where you have match winners, piano players and piano carriers again. You had the ones that did the hard work and give it to the players that'll win you games, or you always take it if they make a difference in a match or win a game for you.
But not just frustrating as a teammate, but also on a personal level. When you look at somebody and you, like you said, if I had his pace, I do. It must be frustrating in that sense as well, to look at somebody that I don't understand why you aren't making the most of it.
And everyone's thinking the same thing. Players, imagine what the manager's thinking, and then the fans as well in the stadium. I think the players that tend to do that most are the ones that are just so relaxed about football. They don't get uptight. They just go into every game exactly the same. If they play well, they play well. If they don't play well, it's probably out of their mind by the time they're in their car driving home that night. Whereas the ones that are just on it and just live, breathe football and like a bit too tense, they're the ones that obviously tend to be more consistent. But I remember with Adel Taarabt, he come to Fulham, and in training he was unbelievable. And there was just a certain few games where he just stood out, and you're thinking, how can you not do this week in, week out? And you feel like getting them and just shaking them, just saying, what is it? But they're just so relaxed, aren't they? They just, it just didn't go my way today.
Do you realise quite quickly into a game which side that you're going to get from them?
Yeah. If you're in the first 5 minutes thinking, no, he's not on.
Not today.
Whenever I played with someone like that, though, I'd always be in the rear, not in a bad way, and I'll be always building the confidence during the game. I'll be on their side during the whole game because I'm thinking I just want the best out of you. Because if I start rollicking you for something that you don't do all the time, like not chasing back, then there is times when you want it, but you try and keep them on side, don't you? Because they can produce that. His pace. Yeah. If you have him on, if you like 2 goals there, City, he can win you a game. It's the difference between being there or in the relegation.
And more often than not, they are the match winners, aren't they? They're either the rapid winger or the striker that's going to be sort of getting you goals or should be getting you goals. It's not necessarily the back four or the 2 midfield, or the goalkeeper.
But are they more frustrating than players who maybe don't have the talent? Like if you've got somebody in there who's not as skillful, maybe not as quick, but who works and squeezes every ounce out of themselves, but will make mistakes just because they don't see things. Yeah. Are they less frustrating than the players who can do it, but sometimes just don't do it for whatever reason?
I just think every player is different. You just know you're not going to have 11 of the same players. That's part of a team, isn't it? I think you just got to be part and parcel of it for me. I always took it like that. I never thought.
Were you never frustrated then with teammates?
You get frustrated, but you got to take yourself out of the situation. Take yourself out of the situation. See it as a whole thing. Yeah, they can win you games. If you can get them doing a bit of that and educate them a little bit, great. But that's not your job so much. It's more the people, and a good club will. A good club will show the stats and show them what you can do better, or be accountable for things as well. So, like the Everton is one, accountability. Everton at the moment, the worst at set pieces, aren't they? I think it's won every other game, 48 in 86 games or something ridiculous like that, set piece goals, and they do zonal marking. So if that was your team, what would you be doing? You'd change it, wouldn't you? But you'd have accountability. So then you go man for man, and you go, right, if your man scores, you're accountable for him, and then you're either going to be taken off or it's highlighted on a Monday. So accountability for different things is a good way to educate players as well.
So that 8-point gap means that Liverpool now 11-8 on for the title. It's October. 11-8 on for the title. Manchester City 11-10, and Chelsea 100-1, third favourites. Arsenal up to third, even though Chelsea are third favourites. 1-0 win for them over Bournemouth. No Mesut Ozil in the matchday squad. And talking about frustrating players, he's got to be the ultimate, hasn't he? Because we've seen World Cup performances from him, and then you can see him go missing.
Like, he's the one of the most frustrating players for me over the past 2 seasons. Someone that's got like ridiculous talent, but just doesn't seem to care. And ultimately, as a fan, and football is all about the fans in the day. They just want to see someone that's going to go out there and try their hardest. They know that they're not going to have a great game every single week, but as long as they're trying, when things don't come off, they'll still get an applaud for putting in the effort. But when he doesn't even put that effort in as well, and people say, "Oh, it's his mannerisms, it's the way he plays." It's a bit like the Berbatovs, and
he's also this season had off the field stuff, which might well have affected. But this is longer than that. This is far reaching,
and it just goes to show that they're obviously looking to get him out the door.
They can't get him out the door because the wages. That's what it is. Who's going to take him on his wages? That's exactly what it is. So he made his mind about him last year, pretty sure, didn't he?
Well, look, two starts across all competitions this season, and 71 minutes he lasted in both of those games. It's just, if you're in a club and you feel like a manager doesn't want you anymore, well, what do you do? I mean, it must be hard to kind of go into training every day and think, do you know what? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's different with Ozil. Maybe if he did show it in training, he would get a start in the game. But if you get to the place where you think, it doesn't matter what I do, this guy's not going to want me. Yeah, it must be hard to motivate yourself in that situation.
It all comes down to the individual, doesn't it? Because you look at his situation as well, the amount of money that he's on. He knows that he can't go somewhere else unless he takes a massive wage drop. So then is he thinking, do you know what? Don't bother me if I don't go somewhere else. I'll just stay here and collect the money, and if I have to go on loan, and the club obviously subsidise it all. But I've been in that situation. I was in it at Stoke, where under Mark Hughes, when I knew week in, week out I wasn't going to play. I trained my hardest Monday to Friday. We'd do team shape on the Friday. We'd know the team on a team meeting on the Saturday, and I'd know I could write the script what's going to go on already. You go in, your pre-match, the meeting happens, your name's not down, your name's not on the bench. As soon as that meeting's finished, I was going out, doing my runs, I was on the train home even before kick-off.
How did that go down?
But it probably shows a lack of respect to the teammates, but I'm thinking, I'd rather just get back down to home. Watch the results come back in.
Sometimes the teammates know what situation certain players are in as well, and like, you know what, he's not a bad lad, he's not tossing it off, he's trying his hardest, he's doing everything he needs to do to get into the team. So you're not so much of that, and you're so focused on the game anyway if you play him. Similar thing, but the lads that were left out at Stoke, it was quite funny because we said this before, like the Monday club, like the lads that wouldn't play would have the extra bits on the Monday. It was always quite, and Eddie Nowitzki used to take it, didn't he? Poor Eddie. But it was good because every now and then the team would struggle, and then put all those lads back in, do really well, and then it'll just be a case of the same thing again. So
what if one of the Monday club gets elevated into the kind of light?
It got to a point when I was at Stoke, right, and obviously when it got to doing the team shape on a Friday, 11v11. Obviously, it would be the starting 11, and then the other team would be made up of the rest of the squad, and then maybe some kids. It got to a point where I wasn't even playing in my position on the other 11v11. I was being in like a left back or a right back.
I think that's Eddie Nowitzki used to pull us and say, "Listen, I've got to play your left back today."
It got to a point where I was like, I am the Ian Beale of Stoke City. I was getting treated like Ian Beale from like EastEnders. I was like, where he's just getting battered by Phil Mitchell and people like that. I was like, what's going on here?
But seriously, at that stage, but if you're at a club and like you were saying, you go out, you do your runs, you go to the meeting, do a few runs, and then you get the train home.
Yeah.
Does nobody say to you, do you want to stay for the game, or do you want to?
Everyone's so focused on the game. It's quite hard.
But I mean, after I don't mean at that stage. But I mean,
I think everyone just no one sort of recognised. The manager would never recognise because
that's quite bad in itself. That nobody goes, do you want to stick around?
Yeah, I used to literally do my runs and then go out to see everyone before I'd leave. Everyone, wish them the best of luck. And I think on game day, especially for the manager, all he wants around the dressing room, especially, not that I was negative, but he just wants the people that's involved. Yeah. It's like the day-to-day dynamics on the training ground. The manager will never, I say never, the majority of managers won't really speak to the injured players, or sort of, it'll just be the team that he's focused on.
How would you follow the game?
When I was there, on my phone, on the train,
got your signal.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Do you know what though? I think that we said this. The managers, that's the hardest job now, is keeping everyone happy, and it's man management, isn't it? If players are on in a team, we say managers that used to be players as well. You've got to recognise that as well. You've got to recognise players that and keep them happy, because at some point you'll need them. At some point you need those lads that you're leaving out weekend, so you've got to keep them happy. And I think Stoke was a bit more difficult because there was a lot of us, wasn't there? Probably 30 of us, 30 plus. Yeah. So there's you have a 25 man. There's lads not making the bench, like full internationals. And
is that harder, or is it easier if you're on the outskirts when there's a big group of you?
It's more difficult for a manager, I'd say. Yeah. But as a player.
You accept it. As a player, you accept it. If the person that's playing your position is performing well week in, week out, you take it on the chin.
It's modern football, isn't it?
Yeah. And then obviously when the form dips, then you go and knock on the door, and then you still get waffle. You're like, what chance have I got? Yeah,
you've got to be honest with players. Yeah. I think. They say that man management, you've got to be honest and just tell them the truth. Be honest with players. However difficult it is, players will always respect you as a manager if you're honest. Yeah, that'd be right.
Yeah.
But what happens when you are the one who breaks free? Like a Ribena berry from the bunch, the Monday Club. Yeah. When you go there, do you feel?
No, you just say.
Do you feel for your mates though?
Yeah, you just say, I'm checking out for a bit, but I'll be checking back in a couple of weeks. Yeah, you don't get above your station because you know within a few weeks you could be going back down. Yeah, it's just one of them, isn't it?
Nah.
You just get on with it. There's so many swings and roundabouts in football.
It wasn't a big divide where it was a team in the Monday club. It was just that was just a bit of fun from us. It was,
No, but it's still,
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
But we took it in the right spirit.
It's a way of not making it an issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you create a different sort of culture where you've got your own
Without
sort of
being-
parallel team
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
an opposing team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bomb squad.
The bomb
Yeah.
squad.
But that comes down to team spirit as well. When you've got a good group of lads that I say don't mind being left out of the squad, that will accept it, take it on the chin, won't throw the toys out the pram, and just get on with it and start and still encourage the lads, but obviously will just show their disappointment in a different way. The starting 11 and the senior players and the management, they accept it much more, don't they? They take it better. Rather the lads that just toss it off, they just go, right, leave them.
In last week's Paddy Power Challenge, Carlton Cole won, but his bet was for Tottenham to beat Brighton. So yet again, we've got a losing bet. That's only one winning bet. He does still get £250 to the charity of his choice. Though this week, we've moved on from drawing famous players and managers to talking about famous players and managers. You have to describe them and I have to guess the answer. It works better for the podcast, I'll be honest. And your forfeit, if you lose, is to wear your most hated shirt. So, Steve,
keep it away from
you've got a Spurs shirt. And John, you have
Liverpool,
never been worn Liverpool shirt.
Never been worn.
And that is what you have to do the rest of the show in that if you lose.
To get the timer up. There we
Right.
go.
Oh, it's going quick.
One of the greatest players in the world, very well groomed.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Goalkeeper, long hair. Back in the day.
David Seaman.
Yes. This is a tough one. Got the biggest calves in football.
He's about this tall as
He's
well.
about this big. Me and John have played with him.
Do you want to come back to him?
Yeah, we'll come back to him. Dutch international dreadlocks.
Ruud van Nistelrooy. Not Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ruud Gullit. Oh my Christ! Can I just go home?
King of the facials.
King of the facials.
King of the facials. He's King of the facials. Come on.
You got to do his face. Do his face. Do his face.
King of the facials.
Just pull his face.
I don't know what that means.
He makes facials all the time.
You got to pull
every
his
game.
face.
When he tackles on the
I
floor.
thought you meant like actual facials, like kind of going against his
When he
face.
starts tackling the ball.
What are you doing? I don't know what that is.
Fuzzy hair.
What, like David Luiz?
Yes. Longest throw in history.
Oh, not Challoner or someone like that.
I was
was
going
it?
to say, he used to play for Tranmere, yeah, Challoner, didn't he?
Come
Not
on,
him.
come on, Kel. Played for.
Did he play for
can't
Stoke?
say it.
Did he play for Stoke?
Yes.
I do know who it is.
It's brilliant.
I know who it is as well.
brilliant.
Oh my god! Like, let me come back to that. I'll get that for you. Oh my god!
Tiny, one of the greatest players of all time.
Messi,
No. Fellow countryman.
Maradona.
Yes. Irish international when he scored somersault.
Oh, Robbie Keane.
Yes. Celebrating him tonight at the Grosvenor.
Arsene Wenger. Oh, he's so showbiz.
One man club, massive nose. Didn't get the recognition he probably did.
Nationality. Time up.
Who was that
I'm happy
one
with
club
that.
man, massive nose?
Letitia.
Right, you got 7. And to be honest, if it comes down to a tiebreaker, I would have got Phil Jones if I'd realised it was a different player that
Yeah,
you'd
it's
moved
my
on
bad.
to.
I should have done that.
Would you have
got that facials, yeah?
When you went into
King of the
that-
facials.
But genuinely you said King of the Facials, I did think like somebody took care of themselves again. I was thinking more along the Cristiano Ronaldo thing.
I looked at that and I thought it's going to be easy. It's tough.
Go on.
Ex-international used to wear the yellow top, massive schnoz. Martial arts, loves martial arts.
Loves martial arts.
Very tall. Plays over in America now.
Where's a yellow shirt? Like
Massive
for Brazil?
No. Right, for next one, Steve's doppelganger.
Oh, Ben Watson.
No.
Manager, new smile, glasses.
Oh,
always
Jurgen
wears a
Klopp.
cap. Yeah. Ex-teammate of mine, massive chin.
Massive chin.
Massive chin. Tough as nails, centre half, tough as nails.
What do you mean by like a jawline
No,
or like
big
pointy chin?
Big pointy chin.
You give me a bit more than that. Oh, Rob Booth.
Yeah. Goalkeeper that I used to play with, retired when he was 65. Just retired. He's currently a goalkeeper coach at a club now.
Is it Shea Given?
Shea Given, yeah. The special one.
Oh, it's Jose
Easy.
Mourinho.
Yeah. He tried to sign this man here, current international manager, I can't do his accent.
Come on, let me see an accent.
Oh, God, do the accent.
Let me see an
Please
accent.
do the accent.
Try to sign me.
No, hang on.
Come on.
No. Current player, called very boring, loves a cup of tea.
Oh, James Milner.
Yeah, James Milner.
We've gone on from the manager. This is what's confused me last time. Go on.
Good player. So good they named him twice. I actually played them at Bolt. Oh, I can't even say that, can I? So good they named him twice.
JJ Kocher.
JJ Kocher.
That's got to be void. Surely that's got to be void.
Ex-player invented like a little...
Oh, Dion Dublin with the dude.
Dion Dublin.
He's gone.
A player that was once that is described as can be described as Shrek. Tried to draw him last week.
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney. Trying to think who signed you. Oh,
come on, give me
a mate of yours who does a bit of presenting. Same hair as you, Kelly.
You can't say.
Present same hair as you.
Same hair as Robbie Savage.
Yeah, loves himself. I've got to beat you there. Can we get that shirt from down there, please?
Oh, hello. How does it feel?
Itchy at the moment.
I don't know.
Here we go.
Oh, it looks wrong.
Can we just get on with the show? So I can get this off.
You've got to do your bet.
Yes.
So your charity is?
Fans supporting food banks.
Yes, and your bet is?
I'm going to go for Bosnia home to Finland. 10 to 11.
Cool.
10 to 11 on.
There's a feature on Joe on fans supporting food banks as well.
Is there?
You can go and watch.
Good.
Yes.
Good guys.
Good charity. Well done.
This is Liquid Football on Joe together with Paddy Power. I'm Kelly Cates alongside Steve Sidwell and Jon Walters. And if you like what you see and hear, then leave us a nice message on YouTube or on iTunes. Now, here is psychologist and former NBA player Jon Amici with news of a brand new show from Joe.
My day job is helping businesses thrive through disruption. This show is not about business. It's about people who go from nothing, a seed of an idea, something that everybody thinks is completely impossible, and build it into this massive business. There are 1,000 different ways to be a huge success. One of the most interesting things that we're learning is that how people are failing is almost as important as how they succeed. In fact, it's integral. It's business. Pioneers is having really honest conversations with people, talking about their business, their objectives, their purpose, whether they're just out to make a ton of money and then quit, or whether they really want to change the world. Pioneers on Joe. Listen to it, download it, watch it. I had nothing profound to say.
You've been watching Pioneers, together with Open Money. Manage it, save it, invest it.
And episode 2 of Pioneers with Jon Amici will be available on Thursday, the 10th of October. You can watch it on YouTube or you can download it from your usual podcast provider. And remember to check out Joe's other shows as well, TKO with Carl Frampton and House of Rugby with James Haskell. Tottenham's poor run of form continued away from home. Still haven't won away since January. This time, a 3-0 win at Brighton. Lots has been made of the performance, particularly coming off the back of the 7-2 defeat at home in the Champions League by Bayern Munich. There's been all kinds of things. You often hear... What?
Sorry, you're not doing too bad in Tottenham, are you?
How do we do this? How do we do this Tottenham chat with you sitting there looking like you're in the Tottenham Monday Club?
You've got Rafa van der Vaart.
It is Van der Vaart's top, isn't it? Look at this. Hey.
So, Steve, as a Tottenham player, you're getting tired of Pochettino's methods. Feel him run into the ground. But look,
it's really difficult wearing this.
It's really difficult trying to have a proper conversation with you, trying to do it as well.
Suits you that, you know.
Do you know what? Spurs White Hart Lane was my favourite ground.
Was it?
It was my favourite ground to play at. I won there more often than not, and scored there as well a few times. But I just loved it when you walked out the tunnel. It was all the same going round, good atmosphere. But
they've done that in the new ground as well. They've made it look the same,
which is phenomenal.
Even though the ground itself obviously is very different, but it should look exactly the same when you come out the tunnel.
Yeah,
there.
And they should be playing better football, but they're not, are they?
They're not. I mean, well, it's not. Well, I was going to say it's not been going too badly at home, but that comes off the back of that 7-2 defeat. And there's always rumours. It always comes out the players are unhappy with the manager. They don't like how he's training them. They're working too hard. But that's a kind of constant, isn't it, when teams are doing badly? But do you think that Pochettino's methods will be wearing thin with a group of players that haven't changed that much over the last couple? And he's going into his 6th season here. I mean, there have been big changes before now, but maybe not over the last couple of years when they've not been in the transfer window other than this last one.
Yeah, I just find it that these rumours, if they're otherwise, as you say, they're rumours about the trading schedules and scenarios. Well, they weren't mentioned last season when they had a good. I know the league form dipped last season, But there was none of this coming out, was there, or the season before, and it was all these fresh ideas and that. And a lot of managers nowadays as well go on not refresher courses, but courses. They go into NFL teams and basketball, and they learn different types of management skills and that. So they're always evolving as well. But for me, you've got to look at the players as well.
I think it's easy to blame the manager, isn't it? I think
well,
whenever
the buck
it's going bad,
with him, doesn't it?
Always goes on the manager. But have the players been there too long? And talking about Alderweireld last year, wanted to leave, didn't he? And didn't go. Ericsson wanted to go on a summit, didn't go. Trippier, a strange one. Trippier went.
Yeah.
For not that much money for a young English player. And Aurier is a right back who wanted to go. And it doesn't. It's not all right.
This is the thing you could say. Well, the manager can have. He's in control of the squad, so whoever comes in or goes out is, and that's where maybe there is an argument in Pochettino's defence: is does he have the squad there? Yes, they've spent money in this transfer window, but does he have the squad there that he wants?
And this is all manifested from not just the summer, but from last season as well, where he obviously didn't get the funds or to back him. In previous years, you don't know what was going on financially. We know the club are in a very, very secure position.
And have this new stadium.
Yeah, and the funds would have obviously coming. Obviously, image rights as well with the new stadium. So they could have backed him as well. But just the stuff that was coming out in pre-season, when he was saying, just head coach, I'm not a manager.
That was it, wasn't it?
You look at the stuff that last season...
He changed, didn't he, from the suit to the tracksuit?
You look at stuff that happened last season at Manchester United with Jose in pre-season, and it just sort of snowballed, and it looks like it's going to end in the same way.
Do you think you could see, maybe not as quite as look, we're saying as badly as they've done, they're still in the top half of the table, they're not too far off the sort of teams that they expect to finish near to at the end of the season, but could you see a poor run of form coming from them just from looking at pre-season, looking at how the manager was talking, looking at the fact that there were players out of contract? Was it almost a long time coming, this one? I think all these ingredients add up, and one of the biggest ones as well for me was Kyle Walker. When he left, obviously everyone still speaks to a player that leaves. When he goes and wins, obviously, the Premier League back-to-back and all the plaudits with Pep and that, and he gets on the phone and he says, boys, this place is unbelievable, what a gaffer he is. And obviously they know the money obviously gets doubled or quadrupled, and they're thinking, I need to get out. I need to get this.
Like the Harry Kane.
Yeah. I think he's different with Harry because I think he's truly Spurs through and through.
But he wants the Prem.
Yeah, but he wants he does want to win things. I can't see him leaving England because I think he wants to win the Premier League, yes. But I think more than that, he wants the record. He wants Alan Shearer's record.
Yeah, maybe.
So he wants to play and continue playing in the Premier League. And you do get the sense that, yes, he wants to win things, but ideally he wants to win things with Spurs.
Yeah, 100%.
You go on from pre-season, but you're talking about since January. I remember when they played Burnley in February. I think that was the third away game they lost. Harry Kane just came back in the team because Son was playing really well. Harry Kane back in the team, and then they haven't won an away game since then. But they were in contention when they played Burnley. It was them and City for the league.
Yeah.
I'm from going from them City in the league. Liverpool come from nowhere, and them being, how many points were they off it in the end? 15 points plus. They capitulated then. So taking that into pre-season, maybe not getting the player he wanted.
But he's getting the best out of these players. I mean, he's at the ceiling that they're at now, and he needs new influx.
This is what I was going to ask, because you look, there's 8 of the current squad there from 2014-15. We know about the lack of transfer activity until this recent transfer window. And even then, it's not like a whole fresh bunch of players. It's a couple of positions that they've looked at specifically to replace, and they've got players who've come in who've been injured since they've come into the squad. But is there a sense that when you're a group of players and you're looking to achieve something that you get to a point where you've done it, and that you can sense that yourself, that maybe they think, do you know what, we got to the Champions League final. There may have been an element of luck in that because they weren't playing brilliantly at that stage of the season, and everybody needs luck. But they get there and they think, this is our chance. This is our chance to win not just silverware, but one of the big trophies. Yeah. And once that's gone, and they didn't play well, neither team played well in the final. Once that's gone, maybe they're thinking, right, we don't feel like we're going to get that chance again. Yeah. Like the opposite to Liverpool, who had a Champions League final, lost in that one comprehensively to Real Madrid, and then went back the next season, ran City close in the league title, and won won the Champions League title. It doesn't feel like there's been that kick on with Spurs. Is it to do with the stage of their development, maybe? It's a long-winded way to get to quite a short question.
It was, yeah. What was the question?
What were we talking about? Where are we? What day is it?
When I look at Spurs, as I said, there's so many ingredients now being chucked in, and it's a cauldron just boiling over, isn't it? And let's not forget, last season and the last two windows, they was kind of getting applauded for not spending money. They were saying, well, why change it if it's going so well?
And
why
it did
upset?
so well.
Yeah, but why upset the core group there? They look like a group that all gets on. And then from there to now, it looks like it's a complete sort of turnaround, isn't it? So I just think, you look at how Alex Ferguson was so successful. He didn't, and the players sort of didn't sort of stagnate, did they? In terms of him getting fresh players in, even assistant coaches, change a different voice, all that sort of happens as well. But is it just that thing that everyone says? It's just the Spurs way, isn't it? It's the Spurs.
You're delighted.
Look at me talking about Spurs.
You taking pleasure in that, sitting in a Spurs. But the Ferguson and David Gill relationship at Manchester United was key to that, because if he didn't want a player there, then he could go to the chief exec and make sure that the contract. There was a much closer relationship, and a manager's role was very different. Ferguson and Wenger, probably the last two who had that level of control at the club. If the players, and we know that the players haven't come in, if there's no money to spend, then there's no money to spend. But in terms of players going out, surely that's something that if the manager says that this player doesn't want to stay anymore and I don't want them there,
it's funny,
they should have some input into that.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because you hear rumours of a lot of players wanting to leave. Spurs as well in the past 12 months, 18 months.
Yeah. And
for a team that's got to a Champions League final as well, and you want them to leave, whether it's a big boys like a Real Madrid come calling. But it's just...
but are them lads thinking... Obviously, they're in the club thinking, do you know what? I don't know whether this group can do this.
Yeah,
and they're seeing it first and foremost, thinking, I need to get out.
If you have a group of players who want to get out, and there's a few of them, is that that's adding to the problem maybe that's already there?
And they don't get out. So it's not a recipe for success anyway.
Mauricio Pochettino under some pressure, but he's not the favourite to leave his post next. Paddy Power odds, Marco Silva. Everton not delivering on, I think, what a lot of people expected of them from the start of the season, especially coming off that defeat at the weekend. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 7-2, Mauricio Pochettino's at 4s, Ralph Hasenhüttl at Southampton, and Steve Bruce at 14-1. Even after beating Manchester United, that's still the odds there. Interesting article this week about the post-match interview, which kind of sort of follows on from Newcastle a bit, because that was just lovely, that post-match interview, when you see the two Longstaff brothers sort of chatting, Matty obviously getting the winner and Sean being the sort of proud big brother. You see his parents in the stand, and it's just the joy of it is just
That's
lovely.
That for me stripped football, the business side of it, everything, to the rawness of just what it's all about. Being from playing as a kid on the playground to be in the Premier League and
playing with your brother.
It's just so, and the images of his mum and dad up in the box as well, getting absolutely smashed.
On a Nuki Brown Ale.
Do you know what? I watched it and I was just that for me was just class.
His first game as well, thrown in. United at home,
brilliant.
that's brilliant.
It was just the way when he talked about being told he was going to be in the squad and then finding out the day before he was going to be starting and just being quiet the whole day. And
it was that was special, really special, and you got to cherish them moments, because as I said there, the business model quickly comes back in and it does take over. But then that was brilliant, and everyone as well, and even like we say, Gary Neville, that he's obviously United through and through. Everyone that watched it just loved it. It was a really lovely, warm interview, and actually one of those ones that probably the pair of them were very happy to do. The final whistle goes, you or your brother have scored a late winner against Manchester United. Do you want to do the post-match interview? Yeah, okay, I'm happy to do that one. Generally speaking, though, are they a chore rather than a pleasure? Well, if you've had a heavy defeat, they are, aren't they? I mean, I've done, my worst one was actually at Stoke when I was for Fulham, and it was the day that we got relegated from the Premier League, and as captain, I had to do the interview after. And the thing is with them, you've got to be brutally honest, and because you can't pull wool over fans' eyes, especially ones that have watched you week in, week out, and you've just got to say how it is. We weren't good enough over the season. We've been poor individually, collectively. There's no point going out saying, "Oh, we was unlucky here, unlucky there." You just got to say it and be brutally honest. And when the hardest thing is after a big defeat, when you've won or you've played well, where they're easy. But
you'll find certain players that will front up to the media after defeating, and some players won't. So they'll only do it after a win, like the press. I think it's changing now where you'll get players before they even go in a changing room, but sometimes in a changing room you go in and Colin used to be the press officer at Stoke, and they come in and everyone's like, piss off, Colin, get back out. And then everyone will get a shower and go and do the stuff, but he'll ask a couple of players, will you do this, will you do that, and it's almost like they don't want to come in and ask you because sometimes the players didn't want to do it. But I think it's important, and you get the similar players that will front up to the media after the defeat, and I think that's important because the media needs someone to speak to, and the media respect that side of it as well, because you've got to realise the money comes from the media for players, so players have got to realise you've got to do that side of it, I think, as well, because that's where the money comes from, the TV rights, so you've got to give something back as well. But I think it is important to front up, especially after you've been beaten, and not hide. You get managers that'll send the coach out, and you had Stoke the past couple of weeks where Nathan Jones has done the interview twice, and that takes a lot to go in.
The thing is, he doesn't really have much choice.
No, you do, because you can send.
You've got a couple that you don't have to do.
You can not do it, but you can send the first team coach in.
Yeah,
but he's fronted up.
I think you've got to do. There's only a couple that you can do that with.
But in his interviews, he could straight back off questions because as a player, media outlets are looking for clickbait as well. So that's why players are guarded as well, because they want that controversial quote from you that'll get put across the screens. And I think Jurgen Klopp's pretty good for that because he's very passionate. But Nathan Jones did it last week where he was very honest, and the lady that was interviewing, I think it was Caroline Barker. She was very, very direct, and I was watching it because I was at the match, but it was on the TV after it. I was thinking that's very close and that's a bit harsh to be asking him those questions. It's her job to, but he was very honest with it. But then she did it again with Jonathan Woodgate the other night when Middlesbrough got beat, and she was at him, and he wasn't having to go back, but he was fronting it up as well. And I always respect someone to come up and be very honest, especially a manager, because it takes a lot to do that.
Is it sometimes? Do you see it from the perspective of, if you're asked a hard question, it can make the player or the manager look better if they can answer it well? Because if an interviewer doesn't ask that question, then people are sitting at home asking it in front of the but not even just why is the interviewer not asked it, but you don't ever get a chance to respond. So say, for example, you miss a chance and everybody at home saying that's rubbish, you should have scored that, or whatever, and somebody said you had that brilliant chance and you didn't do it. If you get a chance to answer that, you get a chance to put your side of the story. Whereas if somebody doesn't ask you that question, everybody just goes away and thinks, well, he just made a mistake. Does that make maybe a bad example, but you understand? But as a player,
you might become very guarded then to be very straight down the line. You want players to be honest. And I was always asked the question. I always tried to be honest. I tried not to. I'm the same now. If someone asks me something, I'll be straight. I won't beat around the bush or try and straight batter off. You just be as honest as you can.
Once you've had time to think about them, it's different though. But those ones immediately after the final whistle, the whole point of them, isn't it, is to get emotion.
Yeah.
Well, you ask the questions. What's it like for what do you prefer? Do you prefer off the pitch, or do you prefer
the ones on
afterwards?
the pitch? But the ones on the pitch are straight away is usually with a player or a couple of players who've won the game or who've done something good in the game, because then you work with the atmosphere of the final whistle. That's how you're doing it. But the sort of the ones that are more difficult, usually people have had a little bit, whether it's a player or a manager, have had a bit more time just to process it, because then you get a better interview.
But you'll always get the same players doing the interviews, whether it's a good result or a bad result, or performance-wise as well. And every club that I've been at, same probably for you as well, I'd say 80% of the squad don't like, not necessarily interviews, just doing camera stuff. Like the promos you've got to do in pre-season. Everyone hates it. The majority of people don't like it, so they know there's only a small minority of the group from a press side of it that they could stick in front of the camera.
But that's a vicious circle, because then they get known as being good with the media, so then they get more media requests in. And then
you'll find that sometimes when one of the players has had an absolute worldie, got man of the match, and then it's all it's an interview that's meant to be bubbly, and they're like, they don't really sort of get that excitement from them. They're like, I'm speechless. I'm over the moon.
Internationally, you'll go through media. You got to go through the media zone. You can't avoid it. The country gets fined if you avoid it. So you got to go through. And the lads used to hate it. There's some lads that didn't do it.
But you don't have to stop.
You don't have to stop. But it's awkward if everyone's asking you.
Huge kind of snaking.
Look, 1,500 metres long.
You think you've got
here.
You think you've got. You think you've got stuck. You think
exactly what it's like.
You think you've got through it. This isn't a short corridor. These are like huge snaking big.
There was a few players that I knew hated it, or after a bad result, I'd sort of go, listen, I'll do it. Follow me because I'll do it, and you can all just get off. So I'd stop. Give like a 10-minute thing, which is not nice after you get beat because you've got to front up and you've got to take the blame yourself. And try and protect certain players as well on the team that maybe have had a bit of a nightmare, but you let them go through because they don't want to do it either. But you know which players don't want to do it.
But you've never done their headphones on, head down, that's the normal head down, big headphones on.
But it's ignorance, isn't it? That's the thing.
Well, but I think there needs to be understanding from both sides. It's like if you want the emotion, you have to take the fact that sometimes people are going to be fed up and not want to speak. I think
but there's never reasonable. Training. There's never training for media for players. There is if the player requests it, but from internal, there's no like.
Even now,
I never did. I never had any media training.
People just go on the club. First week on the job. I think a lot of the youngsters are getting it nowadays because obviously if there's a chance where they could get pushed into the first team if they do play well.
They want other stuff, don't they? In their careers, they don't just want to be football. They want all the having to go and talk to sponsors and talk to maybe companies who want to work with them and things. They have to be able to do that.
But there is no training. There is no training. I know you can't train in an emotional interview if you've just lost 4-0 and you've got to do something. But still, there's principles, guidelines that they can be set in place and that can help. But there's none. So
if you do get training, is it more about what not to say?
Yeah,
I think you know that anyway. Unless you're really thick. There's a few really thick ones. You know what to say. I like the one where Zlatan a few years ago was like, no media, and he pulled the whole team through. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yes.
Really,
Do
you remember it?
He said, we're not doing it.
He's not doing it. Someone said something, reporting, he's like, right, as they were going to speak,
where was it?
Right.
Where, what club?
I don't know.
It wasn't Man United.
Was it Sweden?
It might have been with Sweden.
Maybe?
Really?
PSG?
It might have been, I can't
and
remember where it was.
No media, and he took all the players, and he got everyone through. All the lads would have been happy with that. Right through.
Yeah.
He just sort of palm it off on somebody else then once. No, I've been in that situation as well. And because when we had to, my trick was always to go near the end because you'd get players just as they'd come to the end and you think they've got through it and they'd have like guards down. They'd maybe have taken their headphones off. You'd be like, just one last thing. And occasionally you get something. Yeah.
We always used to hate you at the end.
Yeah, I know. I was all right. If you were there, you probably wouldn't
walk past. He's not in a good mood, is he, today?
No, it doesn't want to.
I'm quite happy.
The one was, it was in the World Cup and the Ivory Coast were playing. Didier Drogba came through and he'd hurt his shoulder, and I was right at the end of it, and he went to walk past at the end, and I went, Didier, I tried everything, and I was like, it was wherever, and I was like in London, and like, thinking that the Chelsea link and the whatever, everything like that as he walked past, and then he went, oh, and it looked like he'd gone, so I went, oh, and I put the mic down. Then he went, next thing, he walked back a few steps and went, oh, all right then, and stood there, and the next thing, there's like 40 people behind me, and I'm standing there with my arm, and he'd taken me off guard. I'd sort of switched off mentally, and I went, your arm all right? And he went, yeah, it's fine, thanks. And I was like,
I bet you thought, thanks.
Right, I better click into interview mode here, and then just kind of,
But there are ones,
up on it.
there are ones that you don't mind stopping for, isn't there, as a player?
There's people you don't mind talking to.
Where there's one you're thinking, now we'll swerve that one.
Yeah.
I quite like Patrick, who works for Sky.
Yeah,
always gone
Pat
with
Davison.
Patrick. Yeah, always gone with Pat.
Yeah.
Just name dropping.
Oh, yeah.
Pat, only Pat, I like that.
Name dropping.
He's a good guy.
Name dropping, he's like, no, that's not a name worth dropping.
Sorry, Pat.
But yeah, did you have any games? Did you used to? There was one. What was the England camp? It wasn't Beatles. Yeah, it was. It wasn't Beatles songs, was it?
ABBA.
I can't remember. Was it ABBA songs with the England camp were there, and then there was always the ones with the sponsors drinks. There was a time with that when you used to try and get.
Lucasade,
That's still going on with Ireland. The guy, Kitman, runs on. It's like, get this drink in. So everyone's like having a drink and taking a drink while you're
it's
doing
like the watches now, is it? But all the tennis players were there.
You can always see when a manager's watch deal.
Stroking the side of their face with the other.
When a manager's watch deal's up, they're always doing this in the interviews and all the post-match things. Well, I think that it's putting their.
I used to just wind people up when they're doing interviews, try and make them laugh or start pulling them, or the camera can't see and you're just hitting them from behind, or a bit of water on them. With on the camera you can't see, but like the soak down on the legs or something.
What is it like when you do like the Friday night ones or the Saturday evening on the pitch and you're thinking there's balls flying around behind me?
Yeah, but it's much. I prefer it. It's much nicer.
Yeah, but are you wary of like balls that's going to hit you, or is it more because
usually they're not training?
Team it is,
they're not training. Yeah, it depends how good they are. It depends on whether or not they actually might want to hit you or someone you're with, more likely. But it's like, no, it's better. I think players feel more relaxed on a pitch, even if they're speaking, than they do in an interview room. Yeah. So I think you get something different from them.
Do you know the one we did, Burnley-Liverpool?
Yeah.
I was panicking because I kept turning over.
Yeah, but that's because they're going to go for you.
And he just kept looking at me like as if it was Ben Gibson and Tom Short, the fitness guy. And he just kept looking over and thinking, oh, please don't hit one over. But it was Martin Keown, wasn't it? Martin Keown got one on the side of the head.
Yeah.
And he was chewing.
Brilliant.
He was not happy.
That was brilliant.
And it's best, if something like that happens and they bite, that's the best bit.
That Burnley game, when we did that Burnley game, where we were sitting was on the opposite side from where our little presentation point was. But I had to stay behind to do stuff because they have to clear all the studio away, obviously, for the game to go on. Or the little, table and stuff. And we did the thing. So you'd gone across with Jamie Carragher to go and sit on the other side of the pitch. And the floor manager, Femi, who I'm with, went, yeah, it's fine. We've still got time to get across. I get to about a third of the way across the pitch. And I suddenly realised the players are all lined up to kick off.
It's only
and
the players on the pitch.
Yeah, I'm like, they're going to kick off. Like, not aggressively. They're going to kick off the game.
There's Robbie Savage in the middle of the pitch.
Who sided?
I hate you. I actually hate you. And they went, so I suddenly went, oh God, so I start running as I'm going to come. And all I can think is, because mostly I wear trainers now because we're on the pitch. And I'm like, I didn't even care. But also, I was going quite fast and I was like, get to the end, I'm like, and I'm thinking, I can't stop running now as well because I'm going to look like I'm just.
I'd quite enjoy that. I was on the bench laughing at that. But we had to walk past the Liverpool bench right in front of them all. Yeah. Just was about to kick off and I hated that. I was like, head down and walking past everyone because there's a you don't want to do that.
You're always in people's way. When you're doing the telly stuff, you're always in people's way.
That before the game is, I think, is disastrous because, especially when you're walking, because you'll know it as well when you're playing, when you're warming up, especially keepers, they try and smash it as hard and as far as they can. They go, right, try and interrupt their warm-up, don't they? Yeah. And there's balls fizzing in, and when you're walking, you're like, it's like dodgy, it's like a circus.
Keepers, during the warm-ups, the keepers just like take the goal kicks, don't they? But I'm like, so they have a little five-a-side or keep ball, you're just hitting it into that keep ball. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the bits when we're actually on the pitch?
When we go there,
yeah. But usually by then it's sort of the end of the warm-up. So by the time we get on there, just kind of start.
Then you got the Herberts on there, like the subs, they're just trying to fire balls everywhere. The Monday clubs. The Monday clubs.
Oh, that's good to know. That's useful information. I'll keep that one on board. That's it for this episode of Liquid Football, together with Paddy Power on Joe. Thank you very much to Jon Walters and to Steve Sidwell. Liquid Football is back next Monday. You can download the podcast or watch us on YouTube, and please leave a nice review in either of those places. We've also got a Facebook page which you can search for Liquid Football and then get involved with the chat on there. And remember, you can check out our other shows: House of Rugby with James Haskell, TKO with Carl Frampton, and the brand new show Pioneers with John Amici. I've only listened to the first one yet, the second one out on Thursday, so I'm looking forward to that one. Thanks for listening to this, though.
You've been watching Liquid Football on Joe, sponsored by Paddy Power.